Before we begin, let me ask you something. What time is it where you're watching this? Have you ever been cheated on, or worse, been the one who did the cheating? Let me know in the comments. Let's get started. I was with someone who, at the time, felt like the center of my universe. 3 years. That's how long we were together. 3 years of laughter, late-night talks, adventures, shared playlists, and building a home out of 2 souls. She was my person. That 1 in a million kind of love you read about or see in movies. Except this was real. Tangible. I could feel it every time I looked into her eyes. Eyes that saw me, even when I couldn't see myself. We were best friends before we were lovers. We'd cook together and laugh over how badly I always burned the garlic. We'd clean on Sunday mornings, music blasting, dancing between mopping and folding clothes. We'd road trip with no GPS and no destination, just vibes and open roads. We were that couple, the one that makes people believe in love again, until I burned it all to the ground. Now here's the thing. Love, even the strongest kind, doesn't make you invincible. And I was never as solid as she thought I was. Behind closed doors, I was falling apart. Somewhere along the line, maybe from childhood scars I never addressed, maybe from traumas I never talked about, I developed an addiction. Alcohol, drugs. Started slow, just weekend partying. Then it became routine. Then it became necessary. Before I knew it, I was no longer myself. She tried to help. God, did she try? She'd cry and beg me to slow down, to come back to her. She saw me slipping and tried to hold me tighter, hoping love could anchor me. But addiction laughs in the face of love. It mocks it. It devours it. And then came that night. It was one of those benders where I hadn't slept in days. My thoughts were scrambled. My morals dissolved in the haze. And in that foggy, broken place, I made the worst decision of my life. I don't even remember how many messages I sent out. To strangers, sex workers. It was reckless, selfish, shameful. But I did it. I cheated. And when it was over, when the high faded and the room stopped spinning, reality hit like a freight train. What had I done? The worst part wasn't just the betrayal, it was the lie that came after. She found the text 2 weeks later. She came to me with tears in her eyes and pain in her voice and asked me if it was true. And I lied. I panicked and lied straight to the face of the woman who trusted me more than anyone ever had. Eventually, I broke down and confessed. But by then, the damage was done. You can't unbreak a heart. That's when I knew. I couldn't keep her tied to someone like me. So I left. I told her she deserved better. And she did. But the irony? Even after everything, she still tried to be there for me. She didn't scream. She didn't hit. She didn't curse me out. She held me. She comforted me, the same man who shattered her. She talked me off the ledge, reminded me that my life still had meaning, even if I didn't think so. She was, and is, the most kind-hearted soul I've ever known. But love wasn't enough to save us, because I wasn't enough. I remember the exact moment her heart broke. It wasn't like in the movies. There was no dramatic scream, no throwing of objects. It was quieter, so much quieter. And that silence, it was louder than anything I'd ever heard. She was holding my phone. Her hands were shaking. Her eyes scanned the screen while her lips quivered like she was holding back an ocean. And when she finally looked up at me, I'll never forget that look for the rest of my life. It was confusion, pain, rage, love, and heartbreak, all crashing into each other at once. Her voice barely got above a whisper. "Did you do this?" And in that moment, I had a choice. I could have told the truth. I could have taken responsibility right then and there. But I didn't. I lied. I tried to spin some story, tried to act like it was a misunderstanding, tried to paint her as paranoid, tried to crawl out of the hole I dug with the very same hands that were still dirty from digging it. But she knew. She always knew. She didn't say much. She just left the room. She didn't slam the door. She didn't scream. She just left and took a part of me with her. Over the next few days, everything changed. She barely spoke to me. She'd move through the house like a ghost. The light in her eyes, The one that used to shine so brightly whenever she saw me. It was gone, replaced by a vacant stare, a distant sadness, a quiet devastation. And me? I was drowning in guilt. I would look at her and want to scream at myself. How could you do this to her? To her. She wasn't just a girlfriend. She was the one who saw beauty in my brokenness, the one who stayed when things got hard, the one who believed in me when even I didn't. And I ruined her. Eventually, I told her the truth. All of it. Not because I was brave, I wasn't, but because I couldn't live with myself anymore. I broke down crying, shaking, babbling like a child. She didn't even look angry at first. Just empty. I told her everything. That it was during a bender, that I wasn't sober, that it didn't mean anything. But that's the thing about betrayal. It doesn't matter why you did it. You still did it. And her tears, they didn't stop. She kept asking me the same question over and over. Why? Why would you do this to me? And I had no answer. Because I was high isn't a reason. I was lost isn't a reason. And I didn't mean to definitely isn't a reason. It happened. And nothing could undo it. So I left her. I broke up with the love of my life. Not because I didn't love her, but because I knew I didn't deserve her. She was still willing to fight for me, still trying to fix what I had smashed. But I knew in my heart, she would never look at me the same way again. And I didn't want to keep seeing the pain in her eyes every time she looked at me. So I walked away, and I've never hated myself more than I did in that moment. It's been 51 days now. 51 long, painful, haunting days since the breakup. And today, she blocked me on everything. At first, I felt a sharp sting of pain, but then pride, because blocking me, that was her taking her power back. That was her healing. She deserves to heal. She deserves to forget me. She deserves a love that won't betray her. Ever. And if I'm not the man to give her that, then I'll be the man who steps aside. I did see her recently, though. Not in person, through social media. Just a few pictures. Her smiling. She looked happy. And I wasn't jealous. I was proud. My sweet girl. Smiling again. The nightmares started about a week after she left. At first, I thought it was just withdrawal. My body detoxing from all the substances. From the late nights. From the chaos I'd been drowning in for so long. But no, it wasn't just chemical. It was emotional, spiritual, something much deeper. I'd wake up at 3 a.m., heart pounding, drenched in sweat. In the dreams, she'd always be crying, sometimes yelling, sometimes just gone. And in every one of those dreams, I was the villain. Not the misunderstood anti-hero. Not the broken man trying to get it together. The villain, the one who destroyed something pure, the one who looked into the eyes of someone who loved him and lied. There's something so horrifying about becoming the source of someone else's trauma. For years, I was her protector, her comfort, the one who stayed up with her through panic attacks, the one who knew how to calm her storms. And now I was the reason she cried herself to sleep. I was the memory she'd try to forget. I was the shadow haunting her trust in future relationships. That truth crushes you. It doesn't just sting. It settles deep in your bones. So I started trying to change. Not for her. Not because I thought we'd get back together. I knew that ship had sailed. But because if I didn't change, I wasn't going to make it. I found a therapist. Sat down for the first time and actually spoke about my addiction. About my past. About why I needed the escape. About why I kept choosing the most destructive path possible. I joined AA and NA meetings. Sat in cold folding chairs in dusty church basements with people who saw right through me. And for the first time, I listened. Listened to other people who had burned bridges, broken hearts, and still somehow found a way to keep walking. And most importantly, I got clean. Every day without drugs or alcohol is a battle, but it's one I'm finally willing to fight. And in that sobriety, I found something unexpected. I found God again. Not religion necessarily, not sermons or rules, but that quiet whisper inside. The one I used to hear as a kid before the world got loud. The one that says, "You are broken, yes, but not beyond repair. I started praying, not to get her back, but to find peace, to find meaning, to become someone I didn't hate waking up to. But here's the cruel part. I'm finally becoming the man she always believed I could be, and she'll never see it. She won't get to witness this version of me, the one who stays sober, who cries when he needs to, who reflects instead of numbs. She'll never hear the things I say about her in meetings, to strangers, to God. She'll never know how I still whisper thank you before bed, thanking her for being the mirror that showed me who I really was. Because I didn't just break her heart. I lost the right to love her out loud. Every morning, I wake up and think of her. Sometimes it's just a passing memory. Sometimes it's a wave that crashes through my chest and knocks me down before I've even left the bed. I think of her when I hear certain songs, when I see couples holding hands, when I walk past the little coffee shop where she used to sneak sugar packets into her purse and pretend it was some heist. God, I miss her. But this isn't about wanting her back. It's about learning to live with the pain of knowing I had something beautiful and destroyed it. There's this moment every night, right before I fall asleep, where the world goes quiet. And in that silence, it all comes rushing back. Her laugh, her face in the morning sunlight, the way she used to tuck her hair behind her ears when she was nervous, the way her whole body would shake when she laughed too hard. But most of all, I remember the last time she looked at me. That look haunts me, because it wasn't just sadness. It was betrayal, like I had taken a knife and carved a new wound in her soul, a wound I can never undo. They don't tell you this part about cheating. Everyone talks about the guilt, the shame, the crying, sure, but they never talk about the echoes, how certain moments just keep replaying in your mind, how you start analyzing everything. The moment you picked up your phone, the second you hit send, the instant your lie left your mouth. How every time someone says, "People make mistakes," you want to scream, "Yeah, but not this mistake." What eats you alive the most is the realization that she didn't leave you. You left yourself. You abandoned the version of you that she believed in. You turned your back on the man she thought you were. And that's the part that doesn't go away. She could have walked away the first time I showed signs of trouble. But she didn't. She stayed. She cooked for me when I was too depressed to eat. She held me when the drugs made my mind go dark. She prayed for me, with me, when I didn't even believe in anything anymore. And I repaid her loyalty with betrayal. But here's the cruel part. I'm finally becoming the man she always believed I could be, and she'll never see it. She won't get to witness this version of me, the one who stays sober, who cries when he needs to, who reflects instead of numbs. She'll never hear the things I say about her in meetings, to strangers, to God. She'll never know how I still whisper thank you before bed, thanking her for being the mirror that showed me who I really was. Because I didn't just break her heart. I lost the right to love her out loud. Every morning, I wake up and think of her. Sometimes it's just a passing memory. Sometimes it's a wave that crashes through my chest and knocks me down before I've even left the bed. I think of her when I hear certain songs, when I see couples holding hands, when I walk past the little coffee shop where she used to sneak sugar packets into her purse and pretend it was some heist. God, I miss her. But this isn't about wanting her back. It's about learning to live with the pain of knowing I had something beautiful and destroyed it. There's this moment every night, right before I fall asleep, where the world goes quiet. And in that silence, it all comes rushing back. Her laugh, her face in the morning sunlight, the way she used to tuck her hair behind her ears when she was nervous, the way her whole body would shake when she laughed too hard. But most of all, I remember the last time she looked at me. That look haunts me, because it wasn't just sadness. It was betrayal, like I had taken a knife and carved a new wound in her soul, a wound I can never undo. They don't tell you this part about cheating. Everyone talks about the guilt, the shame, the crying, sure, but they never talk about the echoes, how certain moments just keep replaying in your mind, how you start analyzing everything. The moment you picked up your phone, the second you hit send, the instant your lie left your mouth. How every time someone says, "People make mistakes," you want to scream, "Yeah, but not this mistake." What eats you alive the most is the realization that she didn't leave you. You left yourself. You abandoned the version of you that she believed in. You turned your back on the man she thought you were. And that's the part that doesn't go away. She could have walked away the first time I showed signs of trouble. But she didn't. She stayed. She cooked for me when I was too depressed to eat. She held me when the drugs made my mind go dark. She prayed for me, with me, when I didn't even believe in anything anymore. And I repaid her loyalty with betrayal. You did everything right. You loved me the way I always wished someone would. You showed up for me when I didn't show up for myself. And I repaid you with betrayal. For that I will always be sorry. Not just for what I did, but for the way I made you question your own worth. For the way I made you feel not enough, when you were always more than I deserved. It's been 51 days since we broke up. You finally blocked me, and I'm so proud of you for that. I know that might sound strange, but I am, because I know how big your heart is. I know how hard it is for you to let go, even when someone's hurt you. And you did it. You chose you. And God, I hope you keep choosing yourself, over and over again, even when the memories come back, even when it hurts, even when you wonder if you made the right choice. You did. You're free now. Free from the pain I caused. Free from waiting for me to become someone I wasn't ready to be. I saw a photo of you on Instagram the other day. You looked happy. And for once, I didn't feel sadness. I felt pride, like a silent ghost clapping in the background of your life. You deserve joy. You deserve mornings that don't start with doubt. You deserve someone who holds your heart gently, not someone who shatters it and calls it love. And I know you'll find that. I believe you will. You always believed in me even when I didn't. So now it's my turn to believe in you. As for me, I'm not the man I was. I'm not the man you loved. But I'm also not the man who betrayed you anymore. I'm somewhere in between. I've been going to meetings, therapy, praying, working, reflecting, trying. I'm not looking for redemption. I'm not hoping for a second chance. I'm just trying to make sure that the pain I caused wasn't for nothing. I want to live in a way that honors the girl who once saw something in me, even if I'll never get to show you the version of me you hoped I'd become. To anyone watching this right now, if you're in a relationship and thinking about cheating, don't. Please, I beg you, don't make the same mistake I did. You think it's just a moment, a release, a secret, but it will become your legacy. It will follow you. It will change you. It will ruin something beautiful in ways you can't undo. And worse, it'll damage the person who loved you the most. If you're unhappy, talk. If you're confused, reflect. If you're broken, heal. But don't drag someone else into your destruction. Break up if you have to. Be honest if you must. But don't lie. Don't betray. Because one day you'll be sitting where I am, missing someone who's never coming back, trying to rebuild with ashes in your hands, wishing you could say, I'm sorry, but knowing it's too late. To her, again, just one last time, I love you. I always will. But now I let you go. May your heart stay kind. May your future stay bright. May you never again have to wonder if you're enough, because you are. You always were. Take care of that beautiful heart of yours. Until we meet again.